What is going on, traders? Welcome back to another episode of Nasdaq100 weekly highs, weekly lows, technical analysis. I hope you guys have had a really good week with your trades. Obviously, this week was a little bit challenging in terms of how market moved, but however, market does what market wants to do, and us being traders, we need to understand that very well. Our success depends on us understanding this very simple concept in regards to market behavior. Now, if you haven't already done so, I strongly recommend you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. That way, whenever I release a video, you'll be one of the first to see it, because moving forward, the aim of the game is to be releasing daily videos, right? So today, normally, the Nas100 will be doing that tomorrow, right? But however, we're doing Nas today, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about gold, right? So first things first, we're going to look at how market basically behaved and some of the key concepts that I always talk about in this video, which is weekly highs and weekly lows, and you developing the mindset or the skill to be able to identify these areas as it happens in real time. I hope I was able to demonstrate a bit of that through the video series. So throughout last week just gone, I've been releasing videos on the Nas, and we've just been tracking the movements as to what it's doing day to day, or every other day I should say, right, in order to kind of pick out what is kind of happening and make decisions based off that, to obviously give us a really good opportunity or good situation where we are able to maximize on profit, however big or however small. Bottom line is we don't leave the market empty-handed. However, not everything I talk about, okay, is set in stone, or to say that it's always going to be dead on accurate and it's always going to be on point, right? On your end, you need to be able to do the work as well. Hence why I've put a list of recommended books that I strongly recommend people go and take a look at, okay? This will give you the basic roundup, because there's only so much you can get from YouTube videos. Some of the stuff is, A, you need to hit the books, which is highly recommended. B is obviously watching YouTube videos to just get like basic roundup ideas of strategies, etc. And the third, which is most important, is skin in the game, building experience points in the game itself. And once again, I am not talking about demos, because there is only so much you can get from demos, and a lot of the time it gives you a false sense of confidence, and then you get into the real world, and then what happens is you end up getting, you know what I mean, you end up getting taken out. So you need to be in the game for real in order to really manage all aspects of market behavior, and most importantly, your behavior in the market as market is moving forward. So just do all of that if you find the content super useful, because like I say, I aim to give you an honest, unbiased analysis as to what I think is going to take place in the market. And I'm not always right. I don't turn around and say that I am right. I'm not always right. Sometimes I do make mistakes, but it's only through mistakes do we learn the greatest lessons, right? So don't shy away from mistakes. Don't hide your mistakes. It's a bit like school when obviously you're doing a writing test or whatever, and then you do a spelling mistake. The teachers are always say put a line through it instead of scribbling the whole thing out. Why? If you put a line through it, they can see what the mistakes are and they can help you correct it. If you scribble the whole thing out, i.e. deleting your mistakes, no one can really point out, and most importantly, you're not learning. So hence why everything is the way it is and how I set it up on this video. So now that that rant is over and done with, let's get straight into the nitty-gritty as to what we need to do in regards to the Nas for week commencing Monday the 21st of October. So during this week, right, yeah, you would have noticed that I think on the Tuesday when I did the video, I talked about the feeling that I had that this area here actually was the weekly high, and it turned out to be the weekly high. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and change this to weekly high. Boom. Okay, that's all locked in. And then we're going to go over here, like I said on the Thursday's video, that I believe that this was the weekly low over here, which it actually turns out to be the weekly low. Okay, and I also gave a recommendation as to how to behave in this area, by obviously, because okay, so before I even go any further what I'm saying, right, a lot of these things that I talk about, because it's happening in real time, there is the element of risk assigned to it. Okay, so for example, during last week, okay, we saw this area and I called it as the high, and I saw this area and I called this as a low. I called this area as a high, I believe on Tuesday, okay, and I called this area as a potential low on the Thursday, which is this area over here. Okay, so there is a slight element of risk. So if I was going to be doing anything, right, I essentially would have taken a buy around this level, which would have taken me straight into the FEG. Okay, right now, before we even talked about the low being in this area, we highlighted this area as a FEG, as a potential that price may want to revisit this zone, which it did. So it gave you the opportunity. Okay, so it gave you, let's see how many times it gave you an opportunity to get paid. So it gave you an opportunity twice. So you had a small amount of profit here, okay, and then he had a potential bigger one on the Friday over here. Then he returned back into the FEG. So if your entry was at this level, based on what I discussed in the previous video, okay, chances are you'll be sitting in a loss right now, but you would have had the opportunity to get paid, and that's this area right here. Okay, that's this area right here. All right, and in saying all of that, it's important I say this: I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not giving you financial advice. Everything you do is on you. You're responsible for all actions you take on the market, and what I am here to do is just to aid thought, help you generate ideas that you may not have come across. Okay, some of you obviously are way in front of me in terms of your experience, and some of you like need a little bit of assistance in terms of how to navigate the market. But bottom line is, everything you do is on you. You're responsible for it all. Okay, and so we got that rant out of the way. 2 rants, right? Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, this is what we got going on right now. Okay, so first things first, we know this is the weekly high over here. So we're just going to move this over and just put this over here, and we're going to set the weekly high. Now the current weekly high level set this week was, or week just gone, is 20524.9. That's that weekly high there. Boom. Okay, second weekly high that we got is over here, and that is, let me just change, actually no wait, just to save me a bit of time in fiddling around with all this stuff, let's just move that over. The new weekly low is set at 20051.4. So if any of these levels are taken out, we are looking for moves in the corresponding direction. Now, what we had, because I also talked about this as well, areas where price could actually bounce from, because once it left this FEG area last week, I turned around and I was like, okay, I believe price is going to fly down. I don't think it's going to go past this level, which turns out to be true. It didn't go past this level, but however, I did mention areas of concern, which were these zones right here. Okay, so this was this FEG right here. Okay, and first things first, we need to give a big shout out to ITC, because it was ITC that came up with this concept of FEG. I don't know, this is where I heard it from first anyways, right? ITC. So ITC, I want to give credit where credit is due, because I did not come up with this, and I don't want to be running off or giving the impression that this was my idea and I came up with it. I did not come up with this. I first heard it from ITC, so give the flowers where the flowers are due. Shout out to ITC. So basically, these were the areas of concern in regards to areas that I thought that price was going to bounce from. Okay, because remember, I first said we're going to put a level at this level. If price goes over it, we're going to ride it all the way down. Okay, and the idea was it could potentially go past this weekly low over here and create a brand new one, because this was just an assumption when I was doing the analysis, just like this was an assumption doing the analysis. Now that it's Saturday, we know that this is a fact and this is a fact. But during the week, we didn't know, and that's the game that we played. We just did not know. So what happened was, price came into the FEG to do what it did, right? And then it bounced back up. So right now, it's sitting right here, okay? But what we do have right now, in the sense of what market is doing, is we cannot neglect, right, what price is currently doing, which is it is making its way up to this zone right here, which is a zone that I called out a couple weeks back. It might be last week's Sunday's video or the previous Sunday's video, but either way, I talked about this zone that price wanted to make its way up to that zone, and obviously it's zigzagging around to get there, but ultimately I think this is where it's heading up to. And then once it gets to this zone, only then will we know what it plans to do. And how are we going to know it's heading to this zone? We're going to get a really simple tell that market's going to give us, right? Which is, it is going to take out a weekly high. is going to take out this weekly high if it plans to get to this zone for either next week or the week after that, okay? And then if it ain't gonna happen, it's gonna take out this weekly low over here, at which point we can start looking downwards to see where is the most likeliest location where price is going to land. So that is the general vibe in terms of what I'm seeing right now in market behavior. So with that said and done, now we're going to look at overall structure of market as market is doing what it's doing. So as we can see right now, we have a bit of a squeeze in the market, right? So market is squeezing, which basically means pressure is building, right? So we have pressure building right now in this particular zone. And when usually pressure builds, there's always going to be some form of a blow off, right? So price is going to blow all the way off in one direction or the other, right? So in my opinion, and once again, we're only going to find this out properly either next week or the week after, okay? Which is either going to blow off in this direction up here, at which point we're going to have the tail, the signal, which is this weekly high being taken out, or it's going to blow off in this direction, at which point we're going to have two tails in this area right here. And that is price closing, like a literal close below these two FVGs right here. Okay, these two FVGs get taken out clean. We don't really have to worry about this level getting taken out. It's pretty much guaranteed it will. Obviously, it does have its areas of risk that we have to bear in mind, okay? But running off market logic, it will become highly probable that if market blasts through these two FVG levels, chances are it's going to close below this FVG level, at which point we can then reduce the probability of price coming up to this level and saying that, okay, not in saying that, all right, it might not come up to this level next week, right? But however, as it stands, it is flying down. And this level being taken out here basically is an indication that you can take with a certain degree of confidence that price is now coming back down again, right? Because there is a couple things that we want to bear in mind, especially when we're looking at how market is behaving, okay? Especially when it comes to the United States, right? So as it stands right now, just to add a bit of politics into what I'm saying, based on how I see it all, right, is that next month in November, we're going to find out who is the current US president, right? Now, the current US president, the most likeliest choice right now seems to be Donald Trump, based on how everything is going, the overall energy behind this guy, right? So it looks like Kamala ain't gonna win. Donald Trump is going to win, right? So when Donald Trump wins the US election, most people, right? Most people that look at things a particular way will say, oh, it basically means all US markets is going to rally. No. That is not what is going to happen if Donald Trump is elected, in my opinion. If Donald Trump is elected, in my opinion, what I think is going to do is market is going to fall, right? Market is going to fall. Why is market going to fall? Okay, if you're already in, it's bad news for you. If you're not in, it's a fantastic opportunity. Everyone in America right now, especially across the Western world, are complaining that there isn't any money and everything is too expensive. So how are we going to make it cheaper? Well, we need to make it cheaper by encouraging or motivating international investors or foreign investors to invest in the economy. How do you get foreign investors to invest in your economy? Well, you have to put everything on sale. Well, what does putting everything on sale looks like? It basically means Dow Jones drops, Nasdaq drops, S&P drops, gold drops, right? And you're saying, oh, why would gold drop? Well, with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden running the show as it is right now, there is a lot of uncertainty, okay? So reason why is because all of these wars are springing up all over the place and they're just letting it happen. They're not really trying to stop it, right? That's not really a break from the norm. I mean, that's what always happens, right? Is they just let these wars go on and obviously they add more to it to keep the wars going, right? So what is the most likeliest scenario if Donald Trump gets into power? Okay, chances are the wars are going to stop. So if the wars stop, people aren't going to be looking into gold as a safe haven, okay, right? And because it's going to fall, right, there is going to be another factor, which is that they want to encourage international investors or foreign investors to get in my opinion, right? Which basically means all the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow Jones are all going to do some form of a correction, right? Which means everything gets cheaper, right? And with that said and done, it makes it easier for all of us that want to play the game to buy in at the bottom, all right? So this is just an assumption I'm putting out there, okay? Obviously, I'm not in the halls of power. I'm just a regular civilian, right? So this is my vibe. Now, if you have another take on what's going to happen between November and January, do let me know in the comment section. I am open to all forms of ideas, because this is what we do. We come up with ideas and then we back that with our hard-earned capital to make sure we're able to profit, right? So that's the overall general idea in regards to all of this in terms of what I'm saying right now. So for next week, right? So for next week, what I basically think is this, right? Yeah, there is a high probability. There is a higher probability that if there is going to be a blow off, it's going to be in the upwards trajectory more so than towards the downwards trajectory. Why? Because I actually believe that this little let me go to a high time frame. This market structure that I've put out. So this market structure, the ascending flag, okay, I believe that it needs to complete, which is between now and January, we might see price up here. And obviously, I'm going to be releasing daily videos, so we're going to be able to track this in real time to see how right I am or how wrong I am. Either way, I'm comfortable with both outcomes, right? Now, say for example, with high degree of probability, Donald Trump becomes the new president for the United States. I'm expecting this trend that we have right now, the ascending flag, to actually truly fulfill itself and drop downwards, come all the way down. Like, I'm expecting this to really correct, right? So once it does that, and bearing in mind, look at where it is right now, okay? So let me just turn all this stuff off for a second, okay? I mean, don't you think it's due for a correction? I mean, look at it, right? Don't you think it is due for a correction? I don't know if the cut is going to be as deep as this one over here, but there is going to be some kind of a cut, in my opinion. There's going to be some kind of a trim. I could be wrong. I may be right. Only time will tell. So with that said and done, okay, right now what you should be seeing is two thumbnails, right? So one of them is going to be on the previous video on the NAS, which I believe I did on a Thursday, so you can track how we did what we did up to today, right? And the second video is going to be on back testing. So if you're interested in understanding systems or ideas, especially if you're new, if you're an experienced trader, there is a higher probability you've already developed your own personal style, okay, which is exactly what I encourage when a workman starts customizing their tools in order to do business. That basically tells me that you're pretty much an expert professional when you have custom tools, right? If you don't have custom tools, obviously you need to build up to the level of getting custom tools. And what I've done is I've put together a backtesting series. Go over there and check them out. Yes, they are kind of long, but just watch them, right? Just watch them and just see if there's anything in there that could be of benefit to you, right? So with that said, I will see you on the next one.